Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another interview on the final day of PAX East. This is Jonathan Roberts, aka Cornoa Crits, off camera asking the questions this time because we have two wonderful and talented guests joining us today. Please take a moment, introduce yourselves to the people at home, let us know what you're all about, and how are you enjoying PAX so far?
Yeah, hi. My name is Stephanie Richards, but online I go by CandyxBomb, usually a VTuber, streamer, content creator, and I also write for a gaming website called Gamer Social Club. And I'm here with my husband and partner in crime.
Hi, I'm Sean Richards. Also go by KingotheCask on Twitch and YouTube. I am also a content creator. I'm a flesh tuber. I do not sit behind a virtual avatar. A lot of my content focuses on variety gaming, but also cooking in my tiny kitchen. And yeah, my PAX is I'm also here doing media coverage as well for the site that we write for.
Excellent. And VTuber to VTuber. It's really fun. It's rare to have the face show, but you know, we gotta let our people see that we are real. So tell me, for both of you, what was the first game that really made you feel like this is my world?
Ooh, I think for my first one was probably, this is a little old school, but Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Turtles in Time.
Oh, yes.
That was one I played a lot with actually my cousin. And it was a game that we just really connected with. And it was one of the games that made me feel connected to gaming. And it was just like, yeah, I like pizza, like these turtles, and I'm having fun and I'm engaging with family. And it just felt like a very easy way of bonding and having a good time. And I was, I don't know, maybe like 4-ish when that game came out. And I just haven't really stopped since.
It's a little cliche, but I mean, I'm old, and one of my earliest memories was playing Pokemon Red on the gray brick I could throw through the window Game Boy and it would still work. So very much like, even though, you know, the concept of like living in a world where there's no adults and there's little monsters running around the world, it still very much felt like I can explore this world fully at the end of the day and really kind of do what I want here at the end of the day too.
Did you pick up Fire Red?
I didn't yet.
I got it. I didn't have a Game Boy.
Okay.
But I had a Super Game Boy.
Okay.
So that's how I play. I play it through my Super Nintendo. So next question then is console, PC, tabletop, or mobile, and why?
All of the above. Literally all of the above. If you are a gamer, you are a gamer, you are a gamer, right? We have our games that we play on PC, and a lot of our streaming is done on PC. But like it's just for me gaming, because I think especially if you are like creating content of any sort, you do need a division or else you will burn yourself out. Mm-hmm. So like our PlayStation 5 is in our living room, and that is just for us, right? So we have our time for console, have our time for PC. We play D&D once a week with a group of friends, and we also have a stack of board games, some that have not been untouched. I don't think there should be a division. Whatever makes you happy is what you should be playing.
Awesome.
Dabbling in everything. I do mobile game a lot, more than I probably should, but very much as Stephanie said, you know, having that disconnect. I work from home for my job, so I am in my office all day. That is also where my PC setup is. There are some days where I do not want to be in there after working for 8 hours. Yep. So it's nice to have the disconnect of like, I want to go play a game, not in this room. Yeah. So I'm going to go play. And as she said too, you know, having games for you. Ghost of Yote, when it came out, people were like, you going to stream it? I'm like, absolutely not. I said, this is a game for me. I'm going to sit on the couch. I'm going to go pet the foxes in their game, because that's the real concept of that game, is to go find every fox den possible.
That's amazing. Oh, wow. No, those are great answers. I have nothing to follow up with it. That was fantastic. What's a game that got you through like a really hard season or a really hard time in life?
A really tough time. I mean, I feel like for you, Animal Crossing during the pandemic.
Animal Crossing. I know that's an answer that so many people have. It's like, you know, the lockdown started in the United States, and I'm like, well, I can go outside in Animal Crossing. Yep. And that was my first foray into Animal Crossing as a gamer. And I'm like, oh, I got hooked. We had to buy a second Switch for our house because I would constantly just leave the game idling on the one Switch that we had. So she's like, I have to go buy my own Switch because you're constantly sitting there on your island on our Switch. So definitely kind of being able to disconnect, forget a little bit about what's going on in the world at the moment, and just having it just be a really positive world at the end of the day too. It was nice. It's like there's no penalties or repercussions or anything because it's all just that relax.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if I have one specific game that I would say like got me through a tough time, but definitely having games that transport me to like a different world. So like a fantasy game, right? Like I don't want something that's really grounded in reality in the same way, right? Give me like a, like the first Dragon Age game. That is something that would get me like just out of my head for long enough to be like, okay, I am separating, I'm enjoying my time here, and then I'll deal with what I have to deal with afterwards.
Yeah. And what surprised you guys the most when you first started creating content?
First surprised me, I think very much realizing how open people will be sometimes in a virtual space where like there's no real connection to who you are, which is a double-edged sword. It can be a great thing.
Yeah.
It can be a bad thing, but definitely how open that is. But it is nice that there is that medium where people do feel safe being more authentically who they are, especially in instances where maybe they can't do that in their real life.
Yeah, I think for me it was, and this sounds a little bit strange, but how it wasn't easy and then it was easy until it wasn't, right? Because I think it's very easy to get in your head about, oh my God, what am I going to do when I hit that go live button? And then you hit the go live button, and if you just roll with it and let yourself just be like, I'm going to play this game and I'm just going to, internal monologue is now going to come outside instead, right? It feels easy, but then there are those moments of imposter syndrome or just anxiety or just like, I can't do this. And I don't know why I can't do this when I did this 2 days ago, but now I can't do this. And every once in a while, I mean, we've been doing this now for almost 6 years, and there's still those days of like, I don't know why, but I just can't do this, right?
Yeah.
And that I think is one of the things that is most surprising. Like for me, for work, I'm on camera a lot with students and things like that. So I'm constantly on a screen, but yet some days it's just like, nope, it is not happening today. I don't know why, and that's just a sign of like, I'm just gonna step away, and that's okay.
And that is okay. And our mental health and the mental health of our communities is paramount. And be able to articulate that for people to understand is hard. And bringing the internal monologue to the external is a huge step.
Yep.
And it's something that everybody struggles with within the content creator space. I still struggle with it, and I'm 10 years in.
Yeah.
It's hard.
It's okay to just say something. Like, I've been honest some days. It's like, guys, I'm having a bad brain day. I can't do it today. Like, especially if I've had a hard day at work, I'm like, yo, I don't know if I really want to be on camera today.
Yeah. And with me, I'm like, hey guys, I'm having a hyper focus day. Prod me a little bit,
Yeah.
Because I'm on ADHD, so if I especially with Diablo, get focused on trying to, go through a pit, I don't even realize I stopped talking.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. What's something you had to unlearn when you came into the creator space to survive?
That it was never, I had to learn to like let go of the idea of perfection. And now I'm a little bit better with it where, now you joke and it's like, oh, if you don't have a stream issue, are you actually streaming, right? Because you never know what issue comes up. Your internet, for whatever reason, has a hiccup. Just the other day I was streaming and all of a sudden, like, our power blipped out real quick. And, if that had happened to me 5 years ago, I probably would have panicked and freaked out and been like, I don't know what to do. And early on in streaming, there were times where I was like, I don't know why the game is lagging, and oh my God, and oh my God, and oh my God, and it looks so scuffed, and just like, it doesn't have to be perfect because nothing is ever going to be perfect, and we are inherently not perfect people, and that's fine. And again, it's that like, okay, I can show everybody that even if there's issues, it's fine, and we pick up and we start over. And that was something to really unlearn, because I am inherently a little bit more of a perfectionist, and I want it to be perfect. And I had to really let that go, and still struggle with that a little bit some days, but better than I was.
I think unlearning, I think it's obviously, any creator has dealt with this. When you first get in, you want to look at your numbers. You do.
Yeah.
And it's really hard to break that habit, because you then get, it doesn't become about enjoying what you're doing.
Yes.
It's just, I want to make sure I can hit, this many people who are constantly on my stream, this many gifted subs, this many subscribers, whatever the metric is that you're looking at might be.
Yeah.
And then people are going to be able to tell that like you're not really enjoying it anymore. I'm even going to go so far as to say is another thing to learn is like, play what you want to play.
Yep.
Don't chase like, well, this is the popular game. Yes, this is the popular game, but do you actually want to play it? It's or like, I started playing this game and I like it, but I feel like I'm stuck here now. And it's like, well, then it's being comfortable and like unlearning until like you have to take the risk to be like, okay, I know if I go from predominantly only playing like Pokemon and I'm like, I want to do something else, you're going to have to be a little bit uncomfortable with kind of like, not everyone's going to come with you on that little bit of a side journey, and whether it's a full journey away from Pokemon.
Yeah, that is, I think, tough for some people, right? Because I think it also depends, why did you get into it, right? Because if you got into it for fame and fortune, you might want to rethink some things, right? But if you got into it because you just want to connect with people, right? You want to bring awareness to something, right? One of the big reasons we did it was we fundraised for a charity before we were streaming. The pandemic hit. We're like, well, we can pivot, and we did.
And we can't be in person.
And we can't be in person, so how are we pivoting and gaming and still doing all these things? And that was really great. And then we've stuck with it, and we've continued to do charity streams and different sorts of charities and things like that, which has been huge, right? So, that, why are you here? And then making sure that you keep the reason why you're here is like very integral, right? If you're here to connect with people, make friends. I mean, now we know people all over the world, which is huge.
Yeah.
Right? And met people as close as 10 minutes away. And those are now some of the support systems that we have that didn't exist prior. So it's really like, are you here for a community, or are you here for something else? And what is that?
And that's important. And regarding the scuff, an important thing to do also, make the scuff into a comedy moment. Make it a part, a little comedy routine. And it helps. Because then it also helps you laugh about it and
100%.
Not take it so seriously, not take it as the end of the world.
I do cooking, and one of the things I do is called Scuffed Kitchen. I'm like, it is budget. I know it. I am running it off of an old laptop in my kitchen. I have taken a cheap arm I bought on TikTok to run my webcam across on top of the stove hood. And I'm like, I really hope this doesn't fall into my food while I'm cooking. But if it does, you're going to know exactly what happened to the camera.
Yep. That's great. So after a day of streaming, content creation, cooking, how do you guys decompress?
If I'm playing video games, I cook. Actually, if I'm cooking, afterwards, I'll just like relax. I'll just like lay in the bed, just maybe read, maybe just mess around on my phone, just to kind of get away from the kitchen, which is probably 900 degrees at that point.
It is, yep.
And just kind of, and if it's and obviously if I'm gaming and I don't go cook, it's just very much like just stepping away from a screen. Because I'm like, I work on a computer all day, I game, I have terrible eyesight, and it's only getting worse. So it's just nice to be able to kind of just fully disconnect after a stream. Yeah,
for me, it becomes more like, do something now that's passive, right? Because streaming it's a little bit more active, right? Because you are entertaining, right? So even if it's still playing a different game, maybe a game that I won't play on stream, or if it's laying in bed and watching anime, right? And if I'm laying in bed or even sitting on the couch watching something, we have a cat and he's right there. So then it's, all right, now we're cuddled up with the cat, we're petting the cat, right? So it's just then, after being very active and actively on, being like, okay, now we turn it off, we sit, we relax, just let our body sort of roll out and then enjoy being the consumer now, right? Taking something in instead of putting something out. And I think that balance is really important.
That is important. And I love how it's such a unique answer between the two of you.
We're very different people. We're married, but we're very different people
and
at the end of the day.
That's a great thing, though. That's something that a lot of people who are getting into relationships or getting into dating need to understand. You can do things together, but there's also an importance in being your own individual.
Yes.
Otherwise,
this is the kind of thing
it won't work.
It won't. I always say, like, with any sort of relationship, whether it's romantic or platonic, friendship, whatever, I think you still have to be your two people, right? And you can be taking your journey sort of alongside each other and come together at times, but I don't think you should lose that individuality or lose yourself, right? And I think that is also very much a part of self-care, right? You want to, obviously enjoy things with your partner or your friend or whatever that is, but don't lose yourself, because God forbid something happens, how do you bounce back from that, right? So
I dabble in hiking, and I'm like, I will
never go hiking.
I will never ask you to go with me.
No.
I'm like, no, you're not gonna go. I'm like, I don't even ask. I'm like, I'm gonna go for a hike. I'll be back.
Fair. All right. Next one is, how do you protect your joy with being online so much?
There's things that I will keep for myself. And I think that's one way of protecting the joy. And again, I know I mentioned it before, it's also this is a time for me, this is a space for me, right? So the console gaming, that's my time, right? That is separate. There are some games that I'm like, I'm going to play this, and I've told people, I'm like, I'm going to play this, but I'm not playing this on stream, right? This is going to be for me. I'll talk about it with everybody afterwards, but definitely not something that I'm sharing in that same way, and just finding those boundaries, which it did take some time, right? Because I think when you first start, you're like, I want to share everything and I want everybody to be part of this. And then you realize, wait, hold on, there's something I need to hold back, right? And even with us, we have nights where it's like, okay, I know this is his stream night, this is my stream night. And then we have times where we're like, neither one of us is streaming at this time, right? And then this is the time for us, right? And that is us, not us and the people that come to our streams, right? And that's important, right? And that's that balance that is sometimes hard, especially if you are, with someone who is also, a content creator. How do you find that? But once you figure that out, and, discussions and being open and finding that time, it's really a way of keeping that joy. The joy between us is ours. That's not for public consumption.
Yep.
And for me, like, maintaining, obviously, you hit on many of the points, but like, obviously also too, like, for me, especially as a content creator, we all know that editing sucks. So yeah, like, don't get me wrong, like, I enjoy doing it. It's something fun. It's something very out of the realm of what I normally do for my day-to-day 9-to-5 job. But it's also something that I know, I'm like, I don't have to force myself to do this. If I don't feel like sitting down and editing a video, I'm like, I'm not going to.
Yep.
So I think that's the important thing of never losing sight of, like, the moment it stops, because I think we both joked that the moment any kind of content creation stops being fun is the day I stop doing it.
Yep.
Because there's no sense in doing it just for the sake of doing it. Because if I'm not enjoying it, what's the point?
Exactly. So, what's your I need 5 minutes ritual?
A hot shower.
Yeah.
And maybe a lot longer than 5 minutes, but if I am like really like stressed, it's like I will open up the heat in the shower, and sometimes I will let it run first to let the steam like just build.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, okay, like something about the hot water, and I don't know if it's like loosening up the muscles or whatever it is, but that is like this is what I'm gonna do. And beyond that, I may just, and I do this sometimes when I work from home too. I'm like, I just need a few minutes, and I will just lay in bed in the dark, and I'm like, just give me some time, and then I'll get back to it. But I just need 5 minutes away from screen, phone, whatever it is. Just lay there, silence, and then be like, okay, I'm good, I'm back.
Podcast and a walk.
A walk?
Podcast and a walk. And if I'm I listen to a lot of metal music, but if I'm in an especially foul mood, it's like, I'm gonna take a walk and listen to metal. So,
yeah. Fair. What game mechanic would best explain your real life coping style?
What game mechanic?
Yeah.
Game mechanic. So I have said this to people, and this might be a little bit of a hot take. But this is a little bit more of a gameplay loop. But roguelikes, I love a good roguelike, right? And with roguelikes, I know some people are like, well, you're doing the same thing over and over, right? And I'm like, but to some extent, yes, you're doing the same thing over and over, but you are doing the same thing over and over with more information and possibly with more skills and abilities, right? So it is very much a climb, and it is like self-improvement, right? And whether it's going to the gym every day and doing the same exercise to build up your muscle, or, reading a book to really work out your brain, or whatever it is, right? So the death is only the beginning sort of thing in roguelites is really something. So I'm like, it happens, but then every day you get a little bit better, right? And every run is a little bit better. And that's really the journey of life, I think. Every day you strive, well, hopefully you strive to be a little bit of a better person.
Yeah.
As somebody who's been punishing himself through Elden Ring right now, not even on stream, this is just for me, very much kind of in the same vein, but a little bit different of like, obviously, if you played a Souls game, you're going to die a lot. And I think it's just the practice of like learning where your mistakes were and how you then improve upon it next time around. Because it's always a fresh start the next time you wake up at that bonfire again, or wake up at that site of grace, or I don't know what it is in Sekiro, because I don't want to touch Sekiro. But that mentality of just like, it's not the end of the world if things go bad. Because you can learn from it and move on from it.
Yes.
And I think that's the important thing, is like getting stuck in I had this happen and I'm never going to get past it. You will. You'll learn some things from it, but you will.
And it might be hard.
It will. No, it's going to be definitely hard.
Well, especially in those games, yeah.
Yes.
But you can keep going and pick up and get through it. And I think that's why I find myself gravitating towards so many like roguelite games, because I'm like, this is hard, but I'm going to try it again, and I'm going to get better, and I'm going to get better, and eventually I'm going to beat Papa Hades, or, I'm going to slay that spire, or whatever it is. And I think that fits as like a life lesson too. Like, keep going. You'll get there. It might take a few extra runs, but you'll get there.
Did you see the cat people roguelike, not roguelike,
Memorial Wake?
Souls-like that they have
Memorial Wake?
Yeah.
I did. I'm looking very forward to it because I like Souls games and I like cute games. I'm like, oh, this is problematic because you're hitting both camps that I like.
Because then you have the cat people you're playing as, and then the rat people that are the enemy.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be reaching out.
Yeah.
As soon as we're done. And my penultimate question for you: what do you hope people feel after watching your content?
I hope they just had a good time. I sometimes I don't shy away from certain topics if they are something that I feel very passionate about. So like last year actually played Life is Strange 2. Life is Strange 2 deals with a lot of like racism and family things. And there were moments where I literally paused the game because I was so angry at what was happening at the screen. And we talked about it, right? But that is not, I'm not going to say that's the norm, but I hope that when they are there, it's like, if we're having a good time, we're having a good time. If we're talking about something a little bit serious, then we're talking about something a little bit serious in a way that I hope feels approachable, and just really like, I hope that they enjoy themselves, and for however long they're there, whether it's 5 minutes or the whole stream, that they're like, I felt like I had a good time and I maybe connected with someone who gets me or entertains me or whatever, and my day is not so bad because she made me laugh with how bad she is at this game, or she hit on a truth that I agree with, and I know there's other people that are thinking like that out there. So if it's a good time, that's all I hope for.
Good.
I think for me, it's like, if I made you laugh, I did what I need to do. I'm a clown on my streams. I have horrendous takes. I got into a whole argument one time on stream that I carried over with several other streams after my stream, that cupcakes are not cakes. It was a very hot take that I just kind of went, and I'm like, I don't really get it either, but it's almost entertaining to just lean into the bit harder now. But if I made you laugh, and even maybe if you're having a rough day, just kind of helping pull your mind away from it for a little bit, and just kind of being at a place where I'm like, I know it's not going to go away, but I can come here, relax, be who I am, then that's all I can hope for at the end of the day. Make you laugh and maybe forget about what's going on IRL, because the world's rough right now. I'm going to be honest.
Yeah. And just be comfortable somewhere.
Yeah,
like
being
somewhere they can
too,
be comfortable
definitely.
being themselves.
Yeah.
I'm with you on that. Comfy chaos.
Yeah.
And my final thing for you guys, look into the camera, tell us about what your current project is, what the charity is you're working with right now, and where we can find you.
Yeah, so right now I'm working on some reviews for gamersocialclub.ca. We do news, reviews, guides, all things like that. So we're both editors on that site. So working on some stuff for them. And then streaming, I'm on twitch.tv/CandyxBomb. Candy spelled the normal CANDY, X bomb BOMB. Also on like Twitter and Blue Sky, same username. Looking at potentially a different charity this year. In the past years, I've done a lot of Extra Life work, to the point where I literally have an Extra Life tattoo on my ankle because it was a charity goal one year.
Same.
Yeah, you have it here. You know, where it was like, we've raised 1,000 this year, we get the tattoo, we did it. But I like to switch up the charities every once in a while. So hopefully have something announced charity-wise maybe a month or two from now.
Nice.
Myself, I also write for Gamer Social Club. I'm realizing I'm working on a lot of interviews with people after PAX, because I think I had a conversation with a lot of developers here. And I know I kind of have the conversation with some of the newer devs where I'm like, I don't need to put a mic in your face or my phone in your face and say, tell me about your game, because 30 seconds on your Steam page is going to give me some insight about the game. I want to talk to you about what got you into game development, what got you into making this specific game, what were your inspirations, and just who they are as individuals. But I think the thing is, every developer comes with their own unique story about why they got into the industry to begin with, but also just who they are as people in general as well. But also to hear too, it's like, especially with, I'm going to be blunt, you know, the gaming industry is a rough industry right now. And I'm like, I kind of want to shine that light of like, what is it that keeps you going in such an unstable industry too? Knowing that, like, I've had a conversation with devs where I'm like, yeah, we would love to do this for a full-time job. We can't. Like, any money we've made off of our game goes right back into making another game while we still maintain our 9-to-5 jobs. So we have a lot of those coming up. Some of them actually in person, I believe, now that we found out that several dev studios are in the New York City area.
Yep.
Where you can find me on KingotheCask. There's no F in there, despite the fact that I've seen it used so many times. And charity-wise for myself, I've had some recent life changes in the past few years, so that's definitely kind of pushing my charity efforts in a different direction, localizing it a lot more as well to like the stuff that was going on in my life a few years ago too. So really kind of honing home to a point that's something that's really going to help support people who kind of went through what my family was going through at the time.
Yeah, and I realized the one thing that I did forget with Gamer Social Club is we also have a podcast that I'm part of. I should really get better about talking about it. We call it Girl Pod. It's really just a chance for girls and primarily like non-male presenting people to have a voice in it. Not that we shy away from having like men on the podcast. He's been on the podcast twice. But really just a space to be like, look, there are female and non-binary voices like also within the gaming sphere, and just like come hang out with us, like come talk to us about it. So we do that too, just to have, you know, a little bit more dialogue and bring more voices into everything.
That's awesome. That is fantastic. Thank you so much for taking the time to sit with us here at Geek Therapeutics.
Thank you.
This was a fun interview.
Thank you.
It was really, really fun. For those at home, make sure to tune in for the rest of our series from here at PAX East. Again, I am Cornell Kritz, aka Jonathan Roberts, Director of Support here at Geek Therapeutics, and we will see you on the next one. Remember, you are seen, you are valued, and you matter, my lovelies.